Introducing Legion of the Leprechaun Whiskey, a high rye bourbon mash with hints of vanilla and chocolate. This 80-proof whiskey is matured in a heavy No. 4 charred New American white oak barrel and delivers a smooth, smoky flavor. Just like a glistening gold helmet on a fall Saturday, this bottle is a standard of excellence for bourbon whiskey. To learn more on how to get your limited edition bottle today, visit legionoftheleprechaun.com. Hey Legion family and hello Irish Nation. Mike McClure here, host of the Legion of the Leprechaun podcast. And welcome to the Legion Game Day playlist, brought to you by myself and the creators of the Legion of the Leprechaun. To find out more about us, head on over to our website at legionoftheleprechaun.com. You can also hear this soundtrack on our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Music. Just search Legion of the Leprechaun and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest content. We thank you so much for all your love and support, and we thank you for listening to this soundtrack. Now let's get excited. Fire up that grill. It's game day, baby. Go Irish!
this version of Legion Legends of the Dome, we're recognizing a wide receiver that was nothing short of electrifying. Hailing from Hendersonville, Tennessee, he joined the Fighting Irish in 2007 and developed immediate chemistry with quarterback Jimmy Clausen. Winner of the Bolitnikoff Award as well as recognition as a first-team All-American, this playmaker had an uncanny nose for the ball and the end zone. With 4.42 speed and hands soft enough to catch a carton of eggs dropped from space, he was a rare blend of gifted route runner and breakaway open field speed. Add to that his ability to shake tackles at a sturdy 5'10" and nearly 200 pounds. In his highlight reel, he seems to be part running back with his trucking ability and part track star. Though he had many remarkable moments wearing the blue and gold, nothing are more memorable than the one against Michigan State. On September 19, 2009, down 30-26 with 5 minutes and change remaining in the fourth quarter, Clausen took the snap from the Spartan 33-yard line and threw a rainbow dart to the end zone, which this Legion legend caught at a full sprint over his shoulder in the back of the end zone. His momentum was so great that he came face-to-face with the entire Spartan band and crashed the party by stage diving into the massive green and white, much to the delight of Irish fans around the world, giving the Irish the lead for good, 33-30. Following his college career, he entered the NFL where he amassed a total of 7,890 receiving yards, 44 touchdowns, 1,084 kick return yards, and 216 yards rushing to date. A Super Bowl 47 champion with the Seattle Seahawks, he signed a 4-year deal in 2019 with his current team, the New York Giants. Lads and lasses, make some noise for the man who rekindled the phrase from our alma mater, Golden is thy fame. Number 23, Golden, Herman Tate III.
do you have a favorite Notre Dame football experience?
Yep, I'm going to say the first time I went to a Notre Dame game was my Uncle Jerry took me. I was so excited I couldn't sleep the night before because my aunt actually got the flu.
Ooh.
So she couldn't go, and he had season tickets. So he called me and said, what are you doing tomorrow afternoon? I said, nothing. He said, you want to go to a football game? And I was like, I lost my breath. I was so excited. I was like, I couldn't get out fast enough. So I was all jittery, man. I went shopping, got a new sweatshirt, new hat, just going to game day, driving up to the stadium. I was at awe, just walking through the crowd, watching everybody going through their game day experience.
There's only one way you give respect, and that's by looking somebody in the eye for 60 minutes. Go out there and hitch up your trousers, say, hey, baby, here I am now. Let me see you run through me now. Let me see you show some disrespect for me while I'm nose on your nose. Let me see what you think of me now that my face is turned. You gotta bring it up deep down inside. It can't be just go through it, and it naturally happens. This is a damn tough sport! And it requires more than just going out there and executing. You need passion. You need desire. You need want. You're going to have something come up from inside. We play with that passion. We play together. We play for each other. And we play to win. We are Notre Dame.
This edition of Legion Legends of the Dome is an offensive player who became a household name due to his physical playmaking ability and the chemistry he developed with quarterback Brady Quinn. A two-sport athlete who dazzled on the diamond as well as the gridiron, he set several receiving records during his time with Notre Dame which have since been broken. Nonetheless, he was electric in clutch situations, earning All-American recognition in 2 sports during his time with the Irish. The only question that remained was would he be the next Deion Sanders or focus on only one? This electric playmaker provided fans with several highlight catches. However, none might have been bigger than the one which saved the Irish from a devastating upset. On October 21st, 2006, down 17-13 with 40 seconds remaining in the game, Brady Quinn took the snap from the Bruin 45-yard line, pump-faked the UCLA defense out of their shoes and threw complete to number 83, who shed 2 tackles and outran 2 other defenders to score the go-ahead touchdown, putting the Irish on top 19-17 to the roars of the South Bend crowd.
Samardzija for the Notre Dame touchdown!
The 10th-ranked Irish snatched victory from the jaws of defeat and moved to 6-1 on the season. Following his time at Notre Dame, he removed himself from consideration for the NFL draft and instead pursued a career on the big league diamond. Drafted initially by the Chicago Cubs, he has since played for the Oakland A's, the Chicago White Sox, and currently for the San Francisco Giants, earning a spot in the 2014 MLB All-Star team. Legion of the Leprechaun proudly recognizes this legend of the Dome, the man known as the Shark, number 83, Jeffrey Allen Samardzija.
Legion of the Leprechaun.
Continuing with Legion Legends of the Dome, our next athlete was a man among children. Raised in one of the worst areas on the south side of Chicago, he grew up under the watchful eyes of his mother. Without a father in his life, his mother relied on public aid and would take him to a local grocery store's dumpster to look for food after closing time. Relentlessly picked on by bullies because he was biracial and quiet, what began as a small flame grew into a raging inferno within. Those hard life lessons would crush most kids. In this case, it cultivated an icon. A man who began using sewer covers as weights to get into shape. A man who, despite his stutter, despite not having taken college prep classes prior to his senior year of high school, overcame all odds. As a freshman, he was removed from practice on several occasions by Lou Holtz. Some say because of the chip on his shoulder. Others would say because he would fight to win on every single play. Every championship team needs at least one player who has an edge, a mean streak, who takes it personally when someone has the audacity to line up across from him on the gridiron. Lou Holtz now had that man. These instincts, this fire and passion followed him to the field where he wreaked havoc as a defensive tackle and a member of the 1988 National Championship team. He was hated by opponents and dearly loved by his team, earning All-American honors as well as the Lombardi Award. He was also enshrined in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2007. He would graduate with his Juris Doctor from the University of Notre Dame and was selected in the second round, 49th pick, of the 1991 NFL Draft by the Chicago Bears. He was also selected for the 1993 Pro Bowl and played his last season with the Washington Redskins in 1997. Lads and lasses, raise your glasses. For this Legion Legend of the Dome, the inspirational leader on and off the field, who never backed down no matter what life threw at him. Number 50, Christopher Robert Zorich.
You're listening to the Legion Game Day playlist.
Success of any team, men, is based on team play. Same as you've shown all year. Sacrifice. Unselfish sacrifice. These are the fellas they say are pretty good. But I think we're better. I think if we get ourselves gave up to a point, and we're confident of that, why, the results will take care of themselves. All right, now, on the kickoff. If we receive, the zone men will drop back to the receiver and block long, that old Notre Dame style. If we kick off, which the rest of the teams want, let's run down fast, as fast as you can run. And then we go on defense. And on defense, I want the center in and out of that line, according to the situation. Use your old head. I want you guards changing through as fast as you can go on every play, except play right over you every time. And the tackles. I want you to go in a yard and a half, and then check yourselves. Spread your feet. Squat down low and be ready with your hands on your elbows, so you won't be sideswiped. I want the ends in there fast every play, but under control. And you men in the backfield there, I want you to analyze before you move. And if they throw a forward pass, a zone pass, wait to see the ball in the air and then go get it. And then when we get a boy, that's when we go on offense. And that's when we go to him. And don't forget, we're going to pick on the last one tackle this week. We're going inside him. We're going outside him. Inside him and outside him. And we get him on the run once we're going to keep him on the run. And we're not going to pass until the secondary comes up too close. But don't forget, men, we're going to get him on the run. We're going to go. And we aren't going to stop until we go over that goal line. And don't forget, men, today's the day. We're going to win. They can't lick us. And that's how it goes. The first platoon men go in there and fight. What do you say, men?
How did you become a Notre Dame fan? What's your story, bud?
Yeah, so it's kind of tricky for me because my grandmother worked at Notre Dame for half of her life, so she worked there, she cleaned like Father Hesburgh's office and all that. So I guess I was born into it in a way, I guess it had probably was, I want to say early teens, 13, 14 years old when I actually could understand what football actually was and rivalry and all the good stuff that goes with football. So I can't really say a defining moment, I guess, but it was definitely, 13, 14 years old, around that.
You need passion. You need desire. You need want. You're going to have something come up from inside. We play with that passion. We play together. We play for each other. And we play to win. We are Notre Dame.
Our most recent addition to Legion Legends of the Dome is a local, born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. An absolute physical specimen who is destined to play on Sundays. This young man made an impact winning the Butkus Award as well as All-American honors. A linebacker with 4.5 speed, he terrorized offenses around the country from the 2013 through 2015 seasons with a frightening blend of power and speed, allowing him to frustrate offensive lines and dropping coverage to destroy receivers and tight ends. Serving as a team captain, he also compiled over 110 tackles in his sophomore and junior seasons and led the Irish to records of 9-4, 8-5, and 10-3 respectively. Coming out of high school as a highly recruited linebacker and projected as a first-round top 5 pick, it seemed as though the sky was the limit for this humble, hard-working young man. Then, on January 1st, 2016, at the 44th Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, tragedy struck. With 8 minutes remaining in the first quarter at the end of a play, he was knocked to the ground only to spring to his feet, at which time he was blindsided by an offensive lineman, causing him to land awkwardly on his left leg. The impact was immediate. The look on his face was devastating. Collectively, Irish Nation held its breath as he was helped from the field by personnel. The diagnosis would be a torn ACL and LCL, leaving him with nerve damage which caused a condition known as drop foot. In this incredible young man's journey, he never lost faith because, in his own words, he had a clear-eye view. He described this as a focused vision, determined belief, and earned dreams. In the 2016 NFL Draft, the question was, how far would he fall? The Cowboys answered that by drafting him in the second round with the 34th pick, and when the news came, he was overcome with emotion and surrounded by his loving family. Like a phoenix from the ashes, he clawed his way back from injury, earning the Ed Block Courage Award and becoming the starting middle linebacker. Following the 2019 season, he was selected for his first Pro Bowl, despite many teams believing prior to the 2016 draft that he would never play football again. He would also return to receive his degree from the University of Notre Dame in 2019. Lads and lasses, raise your glasses to the man who refused to quit, whose heart and determination match his unyielding personality and love for his team. An inspirational story for the ages. Number 9, Jaylon Smith.
When you come to Notre Dame, you're walking around campus. What is your favorite landmark on campus and why?
Well, I'll just take out Notre Dame Stadium because that's the obvious. I would probably say the library. I just love it because you're walking down that hill, you get to the parking lot, you get to Notre Dame Stadium, and then Touchdown Jesus just comes out of nowhere. And it always takes I look at it and it always surprises me every single time I see it.
Next Legends of the Dome piece covers another defensive player, a man who knew how to hit on the field and in the ring, a master of the sweet science. A tough Midwestern kid who grew up dreaming to go pro and was responsible for one of the greatest punt returns in Notre Dame history. He was an All-American who played safety for the Irish as well as handling punt return duties. Over the course of his collegiate career, he returned 2 fumbles for touchdowns and hauled in a pair of interceptions returned for touchdowns, recording a total of 230 tackles and 8 interceptions, as well as over 750 yards on punt returns. This athlete, who wore number 9, seemed to be everywhere on the gridiron, adding 3 touchdowns on returned punts, none of which were bigger than the one against USC in 2005. Fielding the punt at his own 40-yard line, he moved through the coverage team like a man possessed, sprinting downfield as USC defenders tried desperately to bring him down, shedding not 1, not 2, but 3 tackles, the last of which resulted in a stiff arm that dropped the defender at the USC 10-yard line as he ran into the end zone, giving the Irish a 21-14 lead. Off the field, he was known to put on the gloves and embarrass anyone who entered the ring. A gifted boxer with a professional record of 7 wins, 0 losses, 4 of the wins coming by way of knockout. He entered the 2008 NFL Draft and was selected by the Ravens. Retiring in 2013, he later joined the Chicago Fire Department and proudly served as a first responder in his home state. Football great, warrior, hero. You might know him as Zibby or Tommy Z. This edition of Legion's Legends of the Dome is brought to you by the Polish pugilist, Thomas Michael Zbikowski.
Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
Who is your all-time favorite Notre Dame player and why? This is an oddball. I sneaking one in here.
You just threw an oddball at me.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I gotta say Ian Book, because he was the guy that I kind of was exposed to when I first started at St. Mary's and started going to Notre Dame football games by myself. I just thought he was so cool. And I seriously hope that he gets into a really good NFL team.
This episode of Legion Legends of the Dome takes a look at the 1988 National Championship team coached by Lou Holtz. Going 12-0 with some memorable games along the way, this team was loaded with potential, however it was almost derailed in the first game of the year. Going into the season opener as an underdog, the number 13 ranked Irish faced off against number 7 Michigan. Enter a diminutive pre-med student standing 5'5", weighing 135 pounds. It's safe to say that Reggie Ho was the smallest one in the field. 4 field goals later, including the game winner with 1:13 remaining, the Irish were celebrating an upset win 19-17 at home in what is now referred to as the Reggie Ho game. The Irish would win 10 of their 12 games by at least 10 points. However, there was one game in the schedule that Holtz and company had circled as the roadblock to a perfect Irish season. The team that was on a 36-game winning streak and were the defending national champions, ranked number 1, the Miami Hurricanes, came to South Bend on October 15th, 1988. The contest, which will forever be known as the Catholics versus the Convicts, was held inside the house that Rocky built. A pregame altercation between the players from both sides left Lou Holtz frustrated. Known for his focus and determination, Holtz made it clear upon returning to the locker room following pregame warm-ups that no more of this would be tolerated, at least not during the game. Holtz later said that his message to his players was simple, quote, "If I see anybody during the course of this football game do anything but class or show disrespect to Notre Dame or anything else, you represent thousands, millions of people. You're not just going to be pulled out of this game. You're never going to play for Notre Dame again. I want to see a class operation. After we win this game, if Miami wants to fight, fine. We'll meet them in the alley. And if they do, you save Jimmy Johnson's ass for me."
the Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
So tell us a little bit about that. What's being an usher like at the stadium?
I like it. Of course, my job is I take tickets at Gate C and everything, so I don't get to see the entire game. I'll see a quarter of the game, but I just really enjoy it because I see all different kinds of fans come through, and I've done enough where I see the season ticket holders, so they basically know me by name and vice versa sometimes. So
that's pretty awesome.
Well, one thing I do like is at my gate, that was when they remodeled the stadium, they put TV screens at my gate, so we can actually watch the game a little bit anyway on TV. But of course, there's a little bit of a delay, so if we hear people cheering inside and everything, then we look if something happened or something, or somebody scored or something. So.
listening to the Legion Game Day soundtrack.
Continuing with Legion Legends of the Dome, we shift our focus off the field to a man who was associated with excellence during his tenure with the Irish, a leader that was responsible for perhaps the greatest unbeaten streak in Notre Dame history of 37-0-2, despite an interruption due to World War II. A former player for the Irish, appearing as a tackle on the 1928 through 1930 teams coached by Newt Rockne, the last two of which he was a member of the national championship teams of 1929 and 1930. Returning to his alma mater and the Golden Dome in 1941, he would change the box formation perfected by Rockne and instead implement the T formation. The Irish would go on to claim 4 national championships under his watchful eyes, with the streak of excellence paused by his service in the United States Navy, enlisting in 1944, only to return in 1946 to claim the national championship. A coach of 4 Heisman Trophy winners, Angelo Bertelli, Johnny Lujack, Leon Hart, and Johnny Latner. He also recruited a 5th Heisman Trophy winner who raised the award in 1956, the Golden Boy, Paul Hornung. Retiring from his position due to health concerns in 1954, he departed with a record of 87-11-9. Legend has it that he was ruthless in his approach to the game, as there was contact in every practice, and quarterbacks took snaps until their hands were so calloused that they would tear and bleed. Indeed, these teams left it all on the field, and it showed in their excellence throughout his time at the helm. In his time at Notre Dame, he would coach a total of 6 unbeaten seasons, eventually taking a position with the Los Angeles Chargers as a GM, and was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1970. Legion lads and lasses, raise your glasses and tip your hats to the man who played a part in 6 of Notre Dame's 11 national championships, Francis William Leahy.
Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
All right, so do you have a favorite Notre Dame football experience?
Well, unfortunately, I have never made it up to God's house, being South Bend, for a game. I have made it to South Bend, though. When I was in service, I was stationed at Fort Ben Harrison in Indianapolis. And after we got done our stuff for the week, I said, guys, let's take a trip. They said, where? I said, this is the closest I might ever be, so we've got to go to South Bend. And they said, well, you'll have to pay for the beer and the rental car. I said, we're in.
week's Legion Legend of the Dome focuses on a man who led the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to a national championship in 1943 despite playing only 6 games. He was the first quarterback under famed coach Frank Leahy to showcase the newly implemented T formation. His effort inspired legendary writer Granlund Rice to refer to him as the T formation magician. He was named an All-American in the 1942 and 1943 seasons, going on to win the Heisman Trophy in 1943. How can a man win the Heisman and a national championship by playing only 6 games? Lads and lasses, this student-athlete was called up to active duty with the United States Marine Corps for service in World War II. He was informed during boot camp in Parris Island that he had won the Heisman Trophy. He served in the Pacific and was nearly killed in the Battle of Iwo Jima, surviving a mortar blast from less than 15 feet away. Making a full recovery, he returned to the United States and played in the All-America Football Conference from 1946 through 1948. However, he was forced to retire in the 1949 season following repeat operations on his knee. This icon continued to serve in the Marine Corps Reserve, eventually promoted to the rank of captain, ultimately retiring from the service in 1957. He would go on to become a successful business owner and was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1972. Hero, Heisman Trophy winner, Hall of Fame inductee and national champion. Hailing from West Springfield, Massachusetts, this edition of Legion Legends of the Dome is none other than the Springfield Rifle, Angelo Bertelli.
an Irish blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
You know, you mentioned off air that you had a story about Joe Montana and Tony Rice.
Oh, jeez, oh, Pete.
Why don't you share that story?
Okay. I'm gonna tell the Tony Rice story first.
Go ahead.
So everybody knows Tony Rice, and anybody in South Bend knows Tony Rice. They've seen him out at the club. They've seen him at the bar. You know, he gets out and about. He's a good guy. Love him to death. One night out 20 years ago, and he's there, and he's got a friend of his, and he says, "Yeah, it's my friend Tony Rice." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." So Tony comes over. He had his national championship ring on. He goes, "You want to try it on?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah. So I put it on, and me and Tony had a couple drinks, and I said, "Tony, why don't you come sing karaoke with me?" He's like, "Karaoke? What do you mean?" I said, "Yeah, let's go do a song." He goes, "All right." So we get up there and we sang Mountain Music of all songs. And let me tell you, Tony, getting into that song very well. It is, you got to remember, this is a day and age before cell phones and videos and all that, because I would have this everywhere.
Check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up. Put the place up, yeah, we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, blue, I'm a chaser. Face Christmas, hey. Put the place up, yeah we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, boo, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Blink of an eye, ego I'ma take her, shake her. Yeah she was a born shaker, she shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you stabbed me in the back. Sounded like a rose when we came out there, we settled facts like Da Vinci. I'm breaking codes and breaking backs, come on, get your ass up if you're slipping. With another smile like it was the last Christmas, hey.
Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
All right, folks, we are here with Mr. Fred Leahy, son of legendary coach Frank Leahy. So, Fred, what is the fondest memory of your father?
There are a few fond memories. And I think my third fond memory was when Dad was dying of leukemia. And I've told you guys before the tension between he and Hesburgh as to why Dad left Notre Dame / was let go. Father Hesburgh came out Dad's last 4 days and just hung out. They talked, they laughed, they reminisced, they hugged. They made up for all the Cold War they had over the years. And to sit in there and watch these two giants talk and laugh. Poor Moose Krause, they picked on him a lot. But it was just eye-opening to see these two great men put down their swords and say, yeah, you know, Father Hesburgh was 32, 33. Dad was just turned 45. So that's probably three of my fond memories of Dad. Yeah.
You're listening to the Legion Game Day soundtrack.
On this week's Legends of the Dome, Legion recognizes an athlete born in an island paradise far from the friendly confines of the Golden Dome. After moving to Flint, Michigan, he was a high school letterman as a wide receiver and a defensive back on the football team, and also lettered on the track team. He would go on to become one of the best defensive backs in Notre Dame history, twice named as a consensus All-American and a member of the 1988 National Championship team. In fact, he is the only player in Notre Dame history who can claim all of the following accomplishments: a starter on a collegiate national championship team, a unanimous All-American, a first-round NFL draft pick, a starter on a Super Bowl winning team, and an NFL All-Pro selection. After graduating with a degree in psychology, he was selected in the first round of the 1991 NFL Draft with the 5th pick by the Los Angeles Rams, where he was crowned a champion once again following the Super Bowl 34 win over the Tennessee Titans. He would later return to his alma mater to serve as a defensive backs coach from the 2015 through 2019 seasons. Wearing number 1, Legion's next Legends of the Dome is none other than Todd Lights Out Lyght.
Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
All right, so how'd you hear about us? How'd you hear about Legion of the Leprechaun?
So when I was working at my last job as a supervisor, one of the guys that worked for me has been a member of Legion of the Leprechaun. His name was Jeremy Shaw, and I don't really use Facebook too much, but I happened to sign on to Facebook, and I saw where he pointed out Legion of the Leprechaun and told me to go ahead and fill out the application for it for the most part, and then I did, and I'm so glad I did because it's the only Notre Dame group page that I'm on Facebook, and I wouldn't want to go any other way.
Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
Tavon, you always played with that edge, and that was one thing that I loved watching about you. You wreaked havoc on anybody that stood across from you on the gridiron, man. Then you established a foundation to help kids face adversity. Like that's quite a departure from the monster you are in the football field. Can you tell us a little bit about Tough Choices?
Yeah, so Tough Choices, kids foundation that I started as soon as I left Notre Dame and kind of went to the professional world. Just using my platform that I was able to create and got blessed with to really show kids another way of life, showing them that there's more things out there for them. I remember growing up, my dad had a kids foundation called Kids of Tomorrow. So I grew up in the concept of giving back and being thankful for all the opportunities that you have in life and all the things that you have to pass it back along. So something for me was automatic that I had to start a foundation, which came from the heart, but I knew that I had to make a difference. Many kids always used to reach out to me with plenty of questions, even to today, lost and want to know what can they do to be successful, not even just as an athlete, but as a person. So it was important for me to use my platform to give back, use my platform to mentor a lot of kids back in Florida, around the world, to let them know that they can be successful, that all they need is to have the work ethic, obviously have the essentials that they need to be successful. And that's why I started the foundation, to provide a lot of kids who don't have the essentials for school, who don't have the essentials as far as mentoring to be able to be successful. And that's what Tough Choices is about.
the Legion of the Leprechaun podcast.
All right, so Malik, what we've been doing these last few podcasts is we've been throwing in a random Notre Dame football trivia question into the mix. Now, since you're a special guest, we're going to let you have 2 of them, okay? So I'm going to throw two of them at you.
All right,
but the first one, since you were a former Notre Dame quarterback, we're going to throw you a quarterback question. So, first question is, which Irish quarterback threw the most passing yards in Notre Dame history over the course of his collegiate career? It's multiple choice. A, Jimmy Clausen. B, Ian Book. C, Brady Quinn. D, Joe Theismann.
Definitely Ian. Ian got the most. He has to have the most yards, right? Or is it Brady Quinn?
What do you think, Sean? Do we give it to him?
Is Brady Quinn or is Ian? I know. I think Ian bumped the touchdown. I think he used the touchdown. Ian broke.
Do you want to phone a friend, Malik?
Oh my! Yeah. You have to say Ian because I love Ian. That's my guy. I played with Ian, so I want Ian. Help me out.
Brady Quinn.
Yeah, I knew it was Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn got a lot of records. I just know Ian played so long. It was either the touchdowns or the yards that he had.
Gentlemen, the greatest adversary of any athlete is self-doubt. When you realize that, you can remove limitations. You set the bar higher, you run faster, you hit harder, you play better, it comes easier. You believe you're more than just a good player. You are the embodiment of something larger than yourself. You believe in yourself, and you can accomplish anything. No recollection of the past, of what might have been, no hesitation, no fear, gentlemen. Then, the fourth quarter down by 6, when you're running for your life with the ball in your hands with precious seconds ticking away, you find yourself hemmed in the sideline with nowhere to go but through your opponent. You put your head down to run through that obstacle, and then, just when the clouds start to gather, one of your teammates obliterates that roadblock with a hit that shakes their ancestors. In that split second, that brief fleeting moment, you believe in more than just yourself. You believe in your team. This is what you've built in camp in those 2-a-days, the team meetings, the scrimmages. You've built that trust in each other. Now this team buys into those beliefs. Everyone plays harder, faster, stronger because you believe in yourselves and in each other. Then it all comes together when an Irish Legion lets out a collective roar, a deafening tidal wave of support through their faith and belief in all of you as a team. That spirit of the Fighting Irish that's more ferocious than any dog, more fierce than a hurricane, more powerful than an elephant, a tiger, or any other force in nature. The support that pushes this team to greatness on 4th and 2, with the game on the line because we believe. We start by making them uncertain. Get them off balance and push the tempo of the game to a place they don't want to go. Make them pay every time they seek contact. Make it hurt. For the love of Notre Dame, make them pay every down, every series, every second.
Short. Is anyone out there? Please, we need help. We're almost out of food. The zombies have been beating on the doors day and night for weeks now. I'm not sure how long we can keep them out. Hello? We need help.